And American Football News is back for another week of American Football News, starting with the NCAA and week number 8. Our rundown of the top 25 will start in 1 second. Number 1 for the 8th week in a row, no surprise here, the Alabama Crimson Tide, the best college football team overall so far. Followed number 2 is Ohio State University, number 3 Clemson, and climbing into that lucrative number 4 spot for the first time this year, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Number 5 LSU comes after moving up eight places for their win last Saturday. Number 6 is Michigan, who also moves up dramatically after their very convincing win over Wisconsin. Number 7 Texas, number 8 Georgia, 9 Oklahoma, 10, the University of Central Florida remains perfect. Number 11, Florida. 12, Oregon. 13, West Virginia. 14, Kentucky. Number 15, Washington, who falls 8 spots after losing to USC. Or, I'm sorry, not losing to USC. Just losing, period, on Saturday. Number 16, NC State. 17, Texas A&M. Number 18, Penn State, who falls 10 places after losing to Michigan State at the last second. Number 19, Iowa. 20, Cincinnati. 21, South Florida. 22, Mississippi State. 23, Wisconsin. Number 24, Michigan State, back in the top 25. And number 25, Washington State University. There are 3 new teams in this week and 3 new teams out. And we will let you know who those are right now. Auburn, Colorado, and the University of Miami, Florida all suffered horrific losses or their second or third loss of the season and were effectively pushed out of the top 25 for this particular week. Taking their place, Michigan State, who crawls back in after beating Penn State on Saturday, Washington State, and Iowa, one of the top teams in the West Division in the Big Ten. All right, now here comes our upset portion of the show. This week in college football was a wild one. Upsets, shutouts, and one shocker made last week's game special. Here are the few of the bigger upsets from Week 7. All rankings are from this week, not Week 7. So if I say a ranking, it's pertaining to this week, Week 8, not last week. Number 21, South Florida slid by Tulsa University after a furious third-quarter scoring spree falls short for the Golden Hurricanes. USF wins 25-24. Tennessee ended their 11-game SEC losing streak Saturday, this time taking on number 21 Auburn. The Vols win at Jordan-Hare Stadium in a wild one, 30-24. Things are not happy in Happy Valley this week. The Penn State Nittany Lions played Michigan State Saturday, and Sparty showed up to play. Keeping it close all game, Michigan State put the game away for good with a go-ahead touchdown pass from Brian Lewerke to Felton Davis III with 19 seconds left in the game. Then number 8, Penn State falls to unranked MSU for the second straight year, 21-17. The Cavaliers of Virginia took on the then number 16 Miami Hurricanes Saturday, and a defensive battle took place. Keeping up the pressure on D, Virginia kept it close, but pulled ahead late in the fourth, 16-6. However, Miami would rally and score a touchdown also late in the fourth to pull within 3, but that Virginia D put the brakes on. Cavaliers win 16-3. Another one of our upsets, or almost upsets, the University of Central Florida and their 19-game win streak were in serious jeopardy Saturday, having to come from behind as much as 30-14, and in the third, they made a rally against a feisty Memphis team, and the Knights completed the comeback and ended up winning the game 31-30. Iowa State taking down a top 25 team this past weekend. The West Virginia Mountaineers had no answers for the Cyclones and fell 30-14. The USC Trojans had a game this weekend and also knocked off a top 25 team, this time fellow Pac-12 opponent, the Colorado Buffalo. They lose in LA 31-20. And now we look at our Game of the Week results from last week. The rankings for this particular portion of our show are from this week, not last week. Number 7, Washington, going to overtime against the number 17 Oregon Ducks at Autzen Stadium. The Ducks held on to win it in a wild shootout with the Huskies, 30-27. Biggest upset this week, the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs get humbled by the number 13 LSU Tigers at Tiger Stadium, 36-16. Wow. Can the Bulldogs get back into the playoff picture, or is it too late? Number 15 Wisconsin traveled to Ann Arbor to take on the number 12 Michigan Wolverine at the Big House Saturday, and the Wolverines put on a show. Pushing Wisconsin around both offensively and defensively, the Wolverines easily won this contest 38-13. Our Heisman Hopefuls portion of the show is now taking place, and we have a new one in the top 4 Heisman Trophy candidates for this week. Number 1 is still Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback from Alabama, still number 1 in the Heisman Trophy race. His 2018 stats are impressive, throwing for 1,760 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. He's also picked up 117 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns as well. His next opponent are the Tennessee Volunteers. Number 2, Dwayne Haskins, quarterback, Ohio State. Huge week against the Golden Gophers of Minnesota, throwing for over 400 yards in that particular game. 2,331 passing yards total on the season, complemented with 28 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. His next opponent, the Purdue Boilermakers. Number 3 is a particularly one of interest, my favorite to win it all at the end of the year. Number 3, Kyler Murray, quarterback from Oklahoma. A bye week for the Sooners after they were humbled last week in their Red River shootout. 1,764 yards passing for the young quarterback, 21 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Also, 377 yards rushing with 5 touchdowns rushing in 2018. Looking to add to those stats against a 3-3 TCU this week, Oklahoma looks to pick up another W. And our newest Heisman hopeful, number 4, Ed Oliver, defensive tackle from the University of Houston. This man is a beast, right? Putting pressure on quarterbacks despite double teams and his small stature all season have not slowed down this defensive tackle. 46 total tackles on the year, 23 solos, and 2 sacks are impressive in 2018. His next opponent, the Midshipmen of Navy. And we have a few games of the week this week to look forward to. The biggest game of the year is in my home state and is for the Battle of the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Number 6 Michigan travels to East Lansing to take on the number 24 Michigan State Spartans. Michigan State, for a little side note, is 8-2 in the last 10 years. So it looks like Patterson and company, including Harbaugh, have their work cut out for them. In my opinion, if Harbaugh cannot pick up this win against Michigan State in East Lansing, it's going to be very tough to convince the Michigan elite to keep him around for another tenure, despite what he does this year. The games that we will be looking at, we will be going over shortly. To finish off that Michigan State game, kickoff will be at noon, and this game is broadcast on Fox. That game is Saturday, October 20th, and we are predicting a MSU victory. That's right, we feel the Michigan State Spartans will be able to handle Michigan and humble the Wolverines inside Spartan Stadium. Another game to keep your eye on this week is number 16 NC State taking on number 3 Clemson. That's also this Saturday, the 20th at 3:30 p.m. and will be seen on ESPN. We have Clemson winning that game. Our next game is number 22 Mississippi State taking on number 5 LSU, also the 20th of October, this time at 7 p.m. on ESPN. And we're pretty convinced that the Louisiana State Tigers will be able to handle Mississippi State. And our final game to watch, number 12 Oregon will take on number 25 Washington State. That's also Saturday, October 20th at 7:30 p.m. That game will be caught on Fox. All right, quickly moving over to our NFL portion of the show. Thursday Night Football kicked off the NFL last week with the Eagles taking on the Giants. This game saw the Eagles take it to New York early and often. Philadelphia pulled away and won 34-13. Another big win for Big Ben and the Steelers, taking down division rival and leader Cincinnati. Pittsburgh comes from behind to win 28-21. John Gruden's Raiders are terrible. Nothing good to say about Oakland at all. Another loss this past weekend, this time to Seattle, brings the lowly Raiders to 1-5 in 2018. A great comeback victory happened this past weekend as the Miami Dolphins rallied late and beat Trubisky and the Bears in overtime 31-28. Perfection is something every NFL team tries to achieve, and only one has ever done it, and that would be the Miami Dolphins. The LA Rams looking to repeat history. 5-0 against a very tough, then 2-3 Denver team. The Broncos took them down to the wire. Denver falls short and helps improve the Rams to a perfect 6-0, losing to the Rams 23-20. One shutout this weekend in the NFL, the Ravens traveled to Tennessee and put up 21 points while blanking the Titans to improve to 4-2 on the season. Sunday Night Football was a classic matchup that saw a red-hot Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs travel to Gillette Stadium to take on Tom Brady and the Patriots. In a back-and-forth battle of high-powered offenses, Brady and the Pats had just enough of the right stuff to sneak past KC 43-40. But don't sleep on this Kansas City team. They were still hungry at the end of the game, and it is our opinion that this will be a rematch at the end of the year in the playoffs. And Week 6 concluded last night with Monday Night Football, San Francisco playing Green Bay in a game reminiscent of the classic 90s matchups between Brett Favre and Steve Young. However, some magic was needed by Aaron Rodgers and the Packers to beat the 49ers this time around. After throwing the game-tying touchdown with 1:55 left, Green Bay would blank San Francisco and get the ball back and have enough time to drive down the field and kick the game-winning field goal as time expired. Packers win 33-30. And we have our slate of NFL games to keep your eye on this weekend. We kick off with Thursday Night Football here in a couple days. That will feature the Denver Broncos taking on the Arizona Cardinals. That will take place Thursday, October 18th. Kickoff is at 8:20 p.m., and you can catch that game on the Fox or NFL Network. It is our opinion that the Broncos will be able to beat the lowly Cardinals. Sunday Night Football should be an interesting matchup that features two very good teams going at it. The Cincinnati Bengals will take on the Kansas City Chiefs, and that will come Sunday, October 21st, kickoff scheduled for 8:20 p.m. You will be able to catch that game on the NBC network. It is our opinion that the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes will be able to win this game. Monday Night Football will conclude this week's plate of games for the NFL, as we have the New York Giants taking on the Atlanta Falcons Monday, October 22nd, kickoff scheduled for 8:15 p.m. You can catch that game on ESPN, and it is our opinion that the Atlanta Falcons will walk away victorious. Well, another week of American football is in the books, both college and pro, and we have another exciting week of games ahead of us. We thank you for taking the time to listen to American Football News, and please check us out on Twitter, on Instagram, on Spreaker.com, and very soon here we will be broadcasting and available on YouTube. More information on that as it comes. So remember, continue to watch football, follow football, talk about football, and remember to tune back in for all your American football news next week.